YouTube, HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys with another Harpie deck profile. This one's going to be very unique because it's legitimately right before not YCS. It's legitimately right before the regionals in my area, and I'm really excited because, well, this is not the deck that I'm taking, but it's gonna help me with some ideas. I just wanted to do a deck profile. That's pretty much all that it is. I just wanted to do a deck profile. So do take this with a grain of salt if this is not the deck that I run. But the choices in it are somewhat similar. It's a long story, but I'll get to it later. So for my monster lineup, I'm running 3 copies of Harpie Perfumer, 3 copies of Channeler, 3 copies of Harpist, and 3 copies of Harpie Lady 1. For the rest of the Harpie Ladies, I'm running 2 Oracle, 1 Queen, 1 Dancer, and 2 Harpie Lady Sisters. So that's pretty much it for the monsters. On to the spells. Oops, sorry about that. I'm running 3 copies of Hysteric Sign, 2 copies of Elegant Aegis. Harpie's Hunting Ground. Why did I say Elegant Aegis? 1 copy of Harpie's Feather Rest, 1 copy of Split Mirrors. Luring Mirror Split. I'm sorry, I keep getting a lot of the names mixed up with their OCG and the TCG names. Elegant Egotist, Triangular Ecstasy Spark, Raigeki, Dark Hole, and Monster Reborn. So that is it for my spells. Alright, on to my trap cards. I'm running 3 copies of Harpie's Feather Storm, 2 copies of Harpie Hysteric Party, 2 copies of Powerful Rebirth, and 2 copies of Red Reboot. For my extra deck, I'm running 1 copy of Harpie's Pet Phantasmal Dragon, 2 copies of Lightning Chidori, 1 copy of Tornado Dragon, 1 copy of Castel, 2 copies of Ice Beast Zero Fine, 2 copies of Gaga Cowboy, and 1 copy of Babushka, the Terribly Tired Tape Eater. Trust me, I know how this guy feels because I'm a little tired as well. And then for my Link monsters, it's pretty much just my standard set of 3 Great Fly, 1 Daruma Doll, and 1 Decode Talker. So that's pretty much it for like the main and the extra deck. So let's talk about it. Alright, so really just coming up with some ideas, and this was actually something that finally, once I had all the perfumers, I can actually talk about it. So, as we all know, Harpie Perfumer has the ability to search for any spells or traps that specifically lists Harpie Lady Sisters in its text and add it to your hand. Now, if you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, you can add 2 cards from your deck to your hand instead, because you'll control her, but it has to be on the activation in which she does that. Now, how do we get her in this deck normally to do that? Well, outside of Harpie Lady Sisters, that's part of the reason why I run Powerful Rebirth. So, Powerful Rebirth is a continuous trap that summons a level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard and increases its attack and its HP by 1. If it's destroyed, it only really gets destroyed if the monster is removed. How does this work again? When the monster is destroyed, you destroy this card. So you can easily just pop this card under Hunting Ground after summoning Perfumer. She'll still trigger the search for the 2 cards because during the activation, it counted as a level 5 or higher monster being summoned, as opposed to a lot of the weird conditions that this game has. But anyway, we have multiple targets to search for. Don't worry, I'll talk about each of these when I get the chance. The only one that I didn't put into this deck at the current time is Harpie Phoenix Formation Sucks, and the only other one is Elegant Harpie. It's Harpie Lady Elegance, which is a really good card, but it does take a lot of setup and strategy to really focus on this. So Other than that, I think that was the Harpie Lady Phoenix formation, but we don't talk about that card. Oh, and Cyber Shield, which we really don't talk about that card. So, other than that, the other choices were pretty much self-explanatory, in its own sense. Harpie Channeler pretty much just got a Harpie card, just summon a Harpie monster from your deck. When you control a level 5 or higher Harpie monster, a level 5 or when you control a Dragon type monster, her level changes from 5 to 7, so it gives her a ton of her range, a ton of her big plays, a ton of her overall setup. And she just does so much for this deck that you would not believe. So next up is Harpie Harpist. You can discard her to special summon any harp. You can just use when she's sent to the graveyard through when she's sent to the graveyard during the end phase, you can add a level 4 winged beast monster with 15 or less attack to from your deck to your hand. And during the end phase of the turn, she's sent from your field, or when she's sent to the graveyard. So, in addition to, that little setup, I mean, Harpies is pretty much one of Harpie's biggest search monsters. Like, it's pretty much Arsangan. And it's not too bad there because of the fact that she can get a lot of the, you're really get her once you get Dancer, Conductor, and Divine Wind. But because we don't have a guarantee on when we're getting Conductor, I wouldn't hold my breath too much, but it has really great effects and really great stats, so you can combine it with the right cards. Harpie Oracle, let's talk about this lady. Pretty much has the ability to retrieve our Harpie cards from the Harpie spells and traps from the graveyard during the end phase. And yeah, it's during the end phase, it's not like Perfumer. If you control level 5 or higher Harpie monster, you can just summon from your hand, and I guess, like I said, with a lot of these new Harpie Lady cards, you're eventually going to be bound to run, cards to help either modulate levels, increase levels, or, get around a lot of things. But I honestly love how Oracle, I know, little movement of hands, Oracle is because of the fact that she has both of these great options. It's just that, unlike Perfumer, she takes her time through her effect. Next up is Harpie Dancer and Harpie Queen. So I'm only running one of each of these primarily because Oracle and Perfumer just does their job better. Queen overall is still a standalone monster, but for the most part, there's like 2 new cards that can do your job a little better than normal. Unfortunately, you do just have to take a step back. I would love to have multiple Harpie Queens so I can have multiple beat sticks in the level 4 range and just the overall sense of it. Now with Harpie Dancer, she is still mediocre to what we normally run with Harpie Dancer because of the fact that I think one of the biggest things with Dancer is just the fact that she's only really good for removing stuff and popping back row. In a format that really doesn't have much back row, Dancer isn't really going to be much of a use. But when it comes to a lot of your other Harpie monsters, of course she will be there for all the different reasons to help and defend. So that's Harpie Queen, that's Harpie Dancer. So the only thing to talk about is my Harpie Lady of choice. And I chose Harpie Lady 1. The reason why I chose Harpie Lady 1 and not Cyber Harpies is primarily because with Cyber Harpie Lady, I'll probably only run like 1 anyway, just because she'll beat the additional beat stick next to Harpie Queen. They're always treated as Harpie Lady no matter where they are, hand, field, deck, or graveyard. So unlike Harpie Queen, Chandler, Perfumer, Oracle, just any of, like, if you're not named Harpie Lady, if in your text, like Harpie Lady 1, 2, 3, and like, that's the scenario. In Vanilla Harpie Lady, your text just pretty much reads this card name becomes Harpie Lady while she's on the field in the graveyard, and then just pretty much helps with that. We have Elegant Egotist to summon multiples. We have Harpie Lady Sister we can summon multiples of. And overall, this is just one of those cards that just gives you the attack power. And it's pretty much relatively all you really need, especially when you start pushing for a game. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite set of siblings, the Harpie Lady Sisters. So with all this new text, all of this new assorted power, it is nice to see the Harpie Lady Sisters get their go around. For one of my biggest perspectives with Harpie Lady Sisters is that this is our level 5 or higher Harpie monster we can easily summon. Um, it does suck that you can't summon it from the graveyard yet unless you use Monster Reborn and stuff like that. But that's just how the cookie crumbles. The best thing about Harpie Lady Sisters is the amount of cards that can support them. Thanks to a lot of the newer cards. You can search for a lot of their set pieces, a lot of their utility cards. So never fret from that. So that is the lovely Harpie Lady Sisters. Let's move on to the spells. Harpie's, let's just get out the way. Hysteric Party is still one of Harpie's um, biggest assortment of support cards. The fact that it allows you during the end phase, when you summon it there from either your hand or field, you can easily just search for the rest of your Harpie support. Harpie's Featherstorm, Elegant Egotist, Harpie Lady Sisters. You just name a lot of those cards that you can easily get through this card's effect. Now, since we were talking about this card's effect, let's talk about Elegant Egotist. Primarily, I only just run it because, well, I run 3 sign. I can easily go and retrieve it. I'm not too big of a rush. If it was a different variation or build, it may not be an Elegant Egotist plus Harpie setup in here, but I think that's more just solo to make sure everything is working together. I think it works together pretty fine. Alluring Mirror Split. Let's talk about this card. So, it pretty much has 2 really good effects. One just better than the other. If this card is destroyed by your Harpie card effect or your opponent's card effect, you just have to summon a Harpie monster from your graveyard. If a Harpie Lady or Sisters is destroyed by battle, you can just summon, a Harpie monster from your deck whose original name is different from the one that was destroyed. So, say for instance, Dancer gets destroyed, you can activate this, go get Harpie's Pet Dragon, or you can see the process to get a lot of your own support cards. I mean, a lot of your supportive monsters back on the board, and then go crazy off of them. Especially if you combine it right with powerful reboost, and then all that shenanigans. Speaking of shenanigans, Harpie's Hunting Ground. I think Harpie's Hunting Ground, still to this day, if Harpie's ever got a new field spell, this would not rival. Could not be as powerful as Harpie's Hunting Ground. A spell that literally turns every one of your Harpie Lady or Harpie Lady Sisters into MSTs on a normal or special summon. The benefits to this card simply just have to be a bittersweet moment for it. Yes, back row removal thanks to the Harpie Ladies, but the thing is, you have to be sure your cards don't get destroyed, the Harpie Ladies don't get destroyed. It's a back and forth type of situation. Harpie's Feathergrass, since we talk about back and forth situations. This is one of the cards that people love and hate all at the same time. We finally got that draw power in the form of a pot of average S card, but the problem is that it screws up Hysteric Party. However, if you do play this setup right, this card does not hurt your Hysteric Party. It's all in the way you play, it's all in the way you set up, and this card can be amazing. With Powerful Rebirth and Harpie Sisters, it gives you even more range to draw additional cards. Don't fret about the fact that you're locked behind only such so many wind monsters, because there's a ton of wind cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That just are so beneficial to this deck. And just beneficial to a lot of decks overall, thanks to their removal abilities and stuff like that. So that is Feathergrass. Let's talk about Triangular Ecstasy Spark. Triangle Ecstasy Spark, TES. No, there's a lot of weird rulings about this. There's a lot of conversations had about those. And unfortunately, I can even show you guys now. This is the reprint of Triangle Ecstasy Spark. And it was common reprint. I don't think it came any lower than that. And the thing about Triangle Ecstasy Spark is that it turns your Harpie Lady Sisters attack into all Harpie Lady Sisters attack into 2700. Then your additional cards, I don't know if they'll give the additional attack stream or not after you play this, but I'm primarily just playing it, excuse me, from one of the biggest setups. Is that, well, I can do it with my opponent's house and charge it out and worry about it as long as I get some Harpie Sisters. Excuse me. Isn't too hard because, look, I'm running 2 of them. I got Ego. I got a good setup. The thing about Triangle Ecstasy Spark, like I said, is you're locked behind its own effect, which can be a downfall to it. Because if you want to push your game, and it's like, the little factors of life occurred then. But yeah, that is like the harsh reality about trying to go ecstasy spark, is that a lot of us want to run in, but a lot of us just the whole effect thing, and just yeah, it's not up to par for a lot of people. Other than that, I mean, the spells and shots are pretty much relatively the same there. Regeki Dark Hole, the monster removal from Regeki and Dark Hole, and Reborn is Reborn. So that's it for those. Go on to the traps. Featherstorm is as reliable as ever, allowing you to negate your opponent's monster effects on the field, in the hand, graveyard. You're stopping them, and you don't care what happens to them. You can easily activate this, of course, when you draw a Harpie lady on the field, and you're just waiting patiently for the setups to try to go off, and you're like, Featherstorm. So a lot of things just get out the way. I think it's honestly one of my second favorite Harpie trap, because of course Hysteric Party is right next to it. So the benefits to have a Harpie lady on the field, or a Harpie in general, just goes up. Now talking about Hysteric Party in combination, the Harpie scenario there is, well, okay, you have your Harpie on the field, activate your storm, and nothing should go wrong. Or cray. I do love the fact that both of these cards are Harpie, because they are pretty much Harpie's best trap cards. Sorry, Harpie Lady Elegance, if you had a little more setup, it'd be probably different. We've already talked about Powerful Rebirth and its scenario support. So another thing is Red Reboot, and everyone's loving Red Reboot because it stops Infinity Impervience, it stops a lot of trap cards, but with Harpies, you force those trap cards to get set, so you can pop them with your hunting ground, you can pop them with a lot of your own steps, and just overall defensive card. It's a really good and awesome defensive card. As far as the extra deck goes, like I said, I really didn't change much out of it, because I'm still rocking what I would like to call my Harpie Lady toolbox. Any of these four of these monsters. The only reason why I'm running double Ice Beast, double Chidori, there aren't any level 7s in this deck. I want to get a move on, and I want to get multiple resources out of what I would consider two very powerful monsters right now for the Harpie decks. Because with Ultra Guys going crazy, Chidori going around, you need stuff to just smack into monsters. Kind of also makes you regret, why didn't I get Utopia Lightning? Well, they're kind of hard to get right now. So pray I have them during the week. Get them during the weekend. Rest of the monsters, pretty much Cowboy is right at 800 burn, and Babushka is here to be Babushka. Like, if I can at least set up on a Babushka, I will be perfectly fine. And plus, a lot of my other stuff gets their effects off. Triple Great Fly, Recovery, Attack Power, and just synergizes well with this wind attributed deck. So you're going to synergize in with the deck, Daruma Doll. I haven't really run into Daruma Doll. I keep Daruma Doll around just in case. And Daruma Doll still has a really good effect, returning banished winged beasts and regular monsters that you're dealing with back here. That you destroyed. That are in the graveyard when you destroy a monster on the field. I'm sorry. Yeah, when you destroy a monster on the field. I was trying to sugarcoat that. But yeah, that is Daruma Doll, and then you have Decode Talker. And we have a lot of various options like Summer Sorcerers and stuff, but I just prefer Decode Talker. There's a lot of things in here I prefer just because it's a lot more accessible. It's a lot more easier to handle and deal with. So, alright, let me go before I usually yawn in this video like there is no tomorrow. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any questions, though, leave them in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe. HCJ, signing out. Take care.